Man, the NFL draft is over. And I'm sitting here, I'm just putting all my notes together as far as everything that I want to capture and put together for you guys as far as what took place. Congratulations to everybody that made the draft. All those who didn't get drafted are now undrafted free agents. Congratulations to you guys as well. Make sure you get in those mini camps. Show up and show out. Leave an impression on those that got that clipboard in their hand that could go ahead and scribble your name in and say, hey, this is our guy. We're going to keep him. Make sure you get out there and handle your business when it comes to that aspect. But one thing I'm sitting here, I'm looking at the all of this that took place with Shedeur Sanders. I got to be honest with you. This is something that I've never seen before happen. But what people fail to understand is there was a lot of different events that led up to this. Now, I'm gonna speak on a few things. I know some of you gonna get a little offended as far as with what I have to say. But I'm like, I keep saying again and again, I'm not one that goes with the sheep that's headed to slaughter. I can't do that. And I got to be honest with myself, and I got to be real with what I've seen and the stuff that I've found, just so that, we keep context as far as what all went down with this thing. By no stretch of the imagination am I saying that what happened was correct, but you got to understand how all this plays out. Now, I mean, listen, you can't spit in somebody's face and act like God doggone, it was just rain blowing things back and forth across for everybody to, woo. What if that just blew by? Nah, that's not going to happen that way. And I'm not saying nobody spit nobody's face, but we're going to talk about a few things that went down that got everybody a little, up in arms. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you like, share, subscribe, tune in, tap in, tell a friend, and come on in. This is another episode of Blow the Whistle with your favorite coach, Coach Walker, on the Tomorrow Sports Network platform. Guys, make sure you got your drinks, your pillows, your blankets, whatever it is that you need for you to get yourself comfortable, to get adjusted so you can sit back and enjoy what I'm about to give you right now. Because I'm going to be real with you now. There's going to be some things I'm going to be real about. And some of y'all going to be like, man, forget you, coach. You don't know what you're talking about, sucker. You better go ahead and get up out my face. Who the heck you think you is? This Shedeur Sanders over here. Okay. I feel you. But, I mean, at what point in time do you guys understand, like, listen, let's dive a little deeper, not look at the surface as far as what's going on. Now, I got a couple of things that I'm going to address here right off the rip, and I know you guys going to be like, Coach, come on now, dog. That's some bullshit. One thing for certain is I got to give this young man his props. Shedeur Sanders, I salute you to the utmost, because regardless of how all of this played out, this post that you put up on April 26th at 7:55 a.m. when you said another day, another opportunity to get a chance to play the game I love. Thank you, God. Legendary. Salute to you, King, on keeping a positive mindset as far as what's going on. I cannot question this young man's game. I cannot question this young man's integrity when he's out there on that field. I cannot do it. I won't do it. But there's certain things that, and I've said this before. If you followed me, if you follow me, and say it again, if you do not follow me, make sure you like, share, subscribe, tune in, tap in, to a friend, and come on in. Hey, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, Tomorrow Sports Network. Listen to me. I love what Coach Prime and his family does when it comes to the social media platform, when it comes to, as Coach Prime like to say, having receipts. I love the fact that he has receipts on certain things that he wants to share with the world for everybody to know exactly what's really going down. But, Coach, you got to remember now, some of the receipts that you put out there, people that overlooked them receipts, they held on to them. And not only did they hold on to them, you went back and doubled down on the same thing you did previously. So that got a lot of folks sitting there looking like, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on, Coach. What we doing here, bro? I mean, what's going on? And the one receipt that came, I'm going to show you the first one. The first receipt came up was when he, back in 2018, where he posted on X, he said, I love what the Browns have done this offseason, but if I'm a young quarterback, ain't no way I'm going to Cleveland. I will pull an Eli Manning if possible. Hashtag think about that. Now, funny thing is, your son just got drafted to go where? Cleveland. Was it something inevitable that was going on that we really weren't paying no attention to, that you knew back in 2018 that this was going to actually happen in 2025? Stay with me now. Stay with me. This is my assumption here. And, I'm just looking at everything that's going on. I don't think it was a problem with his play. I never believed there was a problem with his play. You know, there's a lot of folks out here that were upset about a lot of different things that took place, i.e. I'm just gonna go ahead and get this one out the way. This is a layup right here. This low hanging fruit I'm gonna give y'all right here. The situation with the retirement of the jersey. There's a lot of folks that was upset and mad about that. There's a lot of people that still feel some kind of way. But one thing for certain is back 2023. You guys in Colorado, you're playing Stanford. You guys are up 29 to nothing at the half. You guys end up losing that game 46-43. You got a young man that pulls up a tweet showing QB1 pushing product out online during halftime of the Stanford game. Think about that, guys. That's not focused. You know what I'm saying? And if this, I keep trying to get everybody to understand, the NFL is like the government. They sit back, they watch everything. They got people that's following around asking folks questions that you never imagined would ask them questions to see what type of person you are. So you don't know who you've pissed off in the past or what you may have said to someone that they may have went back and talked to that gave them some insight as far as your character. Again, I'm not talking about this young man's play on the field, but you encompass that on top of his dad saying he's going to pull an Eli. I mean, yes, we had Jack Elway. We had Archie Manning. We had LeVar Ball. We had LeBron James. We've seen fathers go out here, step in and say, hey, look, my kid ain't playing for them. Respectfully understood. But in Bronny's instance, Bronny had people that wanted to draft him because they knew if they drafted him, LeBron James was going to come and run it. They didn't talk about that part. All they talked about was the fact that, you know, folks is hating on LeBron because he wanted his son in the league. Why? Because it sounds good. It sells. It sells. There's nothing wrong with selling it. It sells. But now when I look at what's going on here with Coach Prime and Shedeur, I'm like, Coach Prime, you doubled down on the Cleveland thing. Once again, double down on some of these teams as far as them picking your son for them to draft him as their quarterback. And guess what? They decided, hey, no, we're not going to do it. We're going to hold off for a little while. So these teams, they hold off for a little bit before they decided to go ahead and pull the trigger to say, hey, Shedeur Sanders, he's our quarterback. I mean, what really bothered me the most was looking at how the draft played out itself. They drafted a quarterback before Shedeur, and I think it was in the third or fourth round, which, you know, I'm sitting there, I'm watching like, hey, it's his time. He should go now. And if you follow me on social media, you may have seen me post saying, hey, he's going to go to the Raiders. Hey, he's going to go to the Rams. Hey, he's going to do this. Hey, he's going to do that. And the reason why some of those other places that I chose for him to go, I know Teddy Bridgewater is there at with the Raiders, with the Vegas Raiders. But I'm figuring that, you know, his mentor is there. Tom Brady's there. You know, he got the NIL deal with him. Who wouldn't want to jump at the opportunity to get in that room with Tom Brady on a daily basis? I mean, heck, you look at their games are somewhat modeled after one another, especially when he's out there on the field competing and people are telling him what he can't do out there on the field. No, he's about to go ahead, slam that thing down your throat, let you know, hey, listen, guys, y'all not about to stop us. I'm about to move this ball down the field, 2-minute drill. We're gonna punch in. We're gonna get these points on the board. We're gonna go ahead. We about to shut some folks up out here and show them exactly what's going on. But when people just kept passing, I said something ain't right. Something's not right. And then I thought about the NFL. The NFL article that I found like right before the draft, where they was talking about all of these different anonymous people within the NFL, was talking about his interviewing process. And, you know, you had the guy from the East-West Shrine game where he was talking about his arrogance or whatever. You know, I'm just like, come on, man. I'm like, this kid don't represent himself like that, you know, based on, you know, how his dad has shown them how to work the room. These kids know how to work the room. I'm like, let's be real with what's going on here. They understand how to work the room when they're in there talking to, you know, sports analysts and things of that nature. They're just not going to go in there and just start blowing off, you know, acting, you know, belligerent or acting in, you know, kind of way towards people to piss them off. When that dropped, I said, wait, we got some smoke up in here. We got some bull jive that's going on that don't make sense. But then I said, okay, why? Now it takes me back again. Social media. Social media was not out when Coach Prime played, when he played. You know, when a lot of us played ball, social media was not out there. And a lot of things that would take place, you know, people didn't see it. I mean, unless they were just up on it, where they were able to really, you know, sit and view what was happening. But I mean, the situation with the kid from Colorado State, the quarterback, where he's doing all that talking online about how they were, you know, how they're going to get out there and beat him, whatever have you. And Shedeur and Colorado came out there, they showed him what talent was. They went out there and thumped them boys. So when the guy came and wanted to shake his hand after the game, Colorado, Shedeur, I forget exactly what he said, but he pointed at him, told him, you talking all that trash online, now, you know, now we here. I'm like, you know, we tried to tell you what was going to happen, but you didn't want to believe it. And he didn't shake his hand, he walked off. When you start looking at social media, you don't think that these sports analysts, as well as these coaches, these scouts, things of that nature, you don't think that they're watching what's going on? Think about it. The Giants, these folks have been dealing with this young man for the longest. You're there on campus. You're there visiting with him. You've been watching him. You're there at the games. You're trying to see what's going on and on and on, things of that nature. And then all of a sudden, they decide they pull the plug. They're not coming after you. I'm sitting like, wait a minute, this ain't right. What's going on with this here? Then we spin back. We spin another block, and we have Fox Sports, Emmanuel Acho. All of a sudden, you talk about Jackson Dart becoming QB2, and how he surged up the board. I mean, ESPN mentioned it like a couple of days. Like they kind of mentioned it. They hinted at it, but they didn't really go into any detail. And then all of a sudden, you saw Emmanuel Acho jump up out of nowhere. He started breaking down his film and whatnot. Jackson Dart film, talking about how he's keeping his eyes down the field and he's doing all these other things and whatnot. And I'm sitting there looking like, wait a minute, where are you going with this? I said, all of a sudden now it's like here, like. Now it's starting, you know, now it's piecing together where you're looking at all of these things that are going on where people want to just start trying to degrade this young man to make it look like it's something more than what it really is. And then, of course, you go back again, Coach Prime, 2024, double down again and say, hey, man, I'm pulling the Eli. You know, I ain't really with all these kids, you know, with these teams. We know what's going on behind the curtain as far as trying to make sure that, you know, they do the things for these athletes when they get them in there. They get them into the program, get them to the organization, and then they don't do anything to help build a team around them. So that leaves you to wonder exactly what's going on here. And respectfully, I understand that because I totally agree with them from that standpoint, because there's no way in hell a lot of these teams have been as sorry and have sucked for as long as they have, and still you're like number one, number two in the draft. You got all these daggone draft picks, and you can't get any players into your program to develop or keep these players in there for you to win some games and get this daggone playoffs to give your fans something to talk about. Honestly, truly, I didn't think that Cleveland was going to pick him. I'm just going to be honest with you. I did not believe Cleveland was going to be the one. When they said that he had the interview with Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh had just lost all of their daggone quarterbacks, and you had Aaron Rodgers still ain't made up his mind what he was going to do, I figured, hey, Shedeur's going to Pittsburgh. We're going to see exactly how this turns out and what can he do with this program. I mean, he got the pieces there. Got Metcalf, and he got the other young man that played from the University of Georgia, Pickens. Got Pickens there, and they just got, I think they got another receiver there as well, that he got pieces that he can throw to, and they got an offensive line that's going to keep him upright. Now, how's all this going to play out? Let's see. But then all of a sudden we talked about that he's not a playmaker as far as with using his legs. I'm like, guys, what the hell are we doing here? I mean, it's just like everybody's all over the place as far as with things that they wanted to say about this young man. It was never anything on a positive note. So I said, okay, let's look at it from this standpoint. Everybody's bringing up these narratives. Now, I seen one narrative where somebody talked about Steve McNair and Cam Newton. No disrespect to Coach Prime. Coach Prime is who he is. He made his name based on being flashy, the things that he do out there on the field. Everybody, either you're going to love it or you're going to hate it. But for somebody to want to use Cam Newton and Steve McNair as black quarterbacks that have black parents that, want to try to compare the two. First and foremost, Cam Newton talk about his dad all the time. Cam Newton, Cecil Newton, Mr. Cecil Newton, he ain't allowing Cam Newton to do no crap like that out there on the field doing this. That's not happening. That's out of there. That's out of there. He gonna let Cam go out there, play his game, do his thing. But all that extra stuff that that Coach Prime, Coach Prime is Coach Prime. His kids emulate him. Everybody's child emulate their parental figure in a different way. I just don't see that. Steve McNair, I damn sure don't see that. And not only that, but they didn't have social media wasn't as rampant back then when both of those guys played. So that's kind of a bogus narrative to try to run with on that one. And then the other, what's that? Baker Mayfield and Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel is the money guy. He'd go to a bar and get, tore up allegedly. And, everybody talk about how he come out there on the field. So he'd play like he blew out, just out of his mind and just, get the job done. But Shedeur don't drink. Can't use that narrative either. Then we come back and we want to use, who is that? Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield played for Cleveland Browns. Look at what Baker Mayfield is doing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now. Down there balling. Why? Because he had pieces. He had pieces around him to daggone get himself together. Matter of fact, I think that one season he was with the Rams, where he was able to get with Sean McVay and that group there to understand exactly what he needed to do to play the quarterback position on a professional level. That benefited him. These are the things we're not looking at. I'm like, let's look at all of them. When he went to Cleveland, he had nothing. He didn't have anything there. Kind of like what's going on with Shedeur right now. Got to find these pieces to put him in there so he got somebody to throw to. And not just John, the janitor, that's coming off the daggone bus, right before practice, say, hey, y'all need the floors mopped out here. What y'all need me to do for you, boss? No, none of that. This young man needs athletes out there on the field for him to do what he needs to do. And why looking back on why Coach Prime didn't want him to go to some of these places, because he knew damn well he wasn't going to have no blocking out there. And speaking of blocking, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to bend the block on that too. Another thing that you would not see Cam Newton, Steve McNair, Manziel, or Baker Mayfield. They're not going to talk about the offensive lineman. You're not going to beat your offensive lineman up for 4 years saying that nobody's blocking, and you're throwing for 3,000 plus yards each year. And last year you threw for 4,000 yards. That as a leader you can't do. As a leader you can't do things like that. You can't throw your teammates under the bus and still consider yourself as a leader. That's not going to happen. And then the other thing that, like they said, accountability. Who's holding them accountable for that? It doesn't, like I said, you don't get away with that kind of stuff. Now, if you do, then, hey, this is a whole new time of football. And guess what? Coach glad he ain't blowing a whistle no more, because that crap right there, there's no way in hell I'm allowing that on my field. You can walk with that. We're not doing that. But then let's fast forward. And like I said before, they talking about the fact that no one else coached him other than his dad. That was a red flag also for a lot of folks. Now, everybody talk about the black man stereotype, this, that, and third. I'm gonna ask everybody this question. If you've been here this long, I'm sure you should be able to answer this question for me. When all of these things that were going on out here in this world with Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Travion, all of these things that was going on with these people where they were dying unjustly, and you had Beast Mode was sitting on a cooler. Nobody said nothing about Beast Mode sitting on a cooler eating a banana. Why the national anthem was going on? He never stood up for that. He never did this. He didn't do none of that. Go back and look at it. It took for somebody to look at what Colin Kaepernick was doing and say, hey, we're going to blow the whistle on this. Why? Because Colin Kaepernick sells. Colin Kaepernick was on his way to get paid a major daggone contract for his play on the field. He's looking to re-up. So you had to start a narrative somewhere to try to generate enough chaos so that they had a rhyme or reason to get his behind up out of there. But I ask y'all this question. When everybody was asking for everyone to stop watching the NFL, how many of y'all stopped watching? Because from the looks of it, I say none of you. No one really sat down and took the opportunity to say, you know what, I'm gonna buck this thing. I'm turning it off. I don't want to watch this no more. You're absolutely correct. We don't have no black owners. Why we don't have no black owners? We have Serena Venus Williams that are they're minority owners that put money back into the organization, but they don't have what type of voting power do they have? See, this the player field we need to get on. Magic Johnson? Magic Johnson might be one minority owner with the Washington Commanders. Outside of that, what are we talking about? There's no way in the world you're going to tell a bunch of billionaires what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. See, they understand the fact that now these kids with this NIL money and all this social media following that they have going on, they're not trying to deal with that. You're dealing with a bunch of old guys that don't understand how this works. So when it's all said and done, guess what? If you want to be a part of their league, they're going to expect you to run the way they want you to run. I'm not saying it's fair. But I'm just saying understand the playing field. And then with a lot of the stuff that Shedeur was doing, you know, the all of the social media stuff where, you know, you got him online talking about players being mid because he didn't know who they was. I'm like, damn, boy, that's cutthroat as hell. But again, they're looking at it from a teammate perspective. Still playing team. Ain't no iron team. And like I said, right now, he took almost 100 sacks in 2 seasons while at Colorado. Brother, listen, you'll break the record playing with these guys out here now because now you're playing with their livelihood. This is a totally different game than how it was in college. Think about that for a second, guys. I mean, think about it. This is no slight to Shedeur, but I'm just saying the whole 4 years playing ball, Jackson State 2 years, Colorado 2 years, not one damn offensive lineman got drafted. I ain't talking about no mini camp. I ain't talking about undrafted free agents. I'm talking about drafted. You had one that left the program. I think he went somewhere else. He went play for another program. He got drafted from there. How does that make sense? So at the end of the day, if we're not going to look at character, that's what we talk about here. Character. Character is still considered part of the genetic makeup of you being drafted. All of them guys that got drafted in the first round, they didn't have no character issues. None that we knew of. But like I said, everything is on video. They're showing everything to the world. I kind of felt like a lot of those training sessions that he had with Cam Ward, I thought those was gonna mess around. He's gonna take a hit with that too. Because when you had Cam Ward, you know, he asked Cam Ward, like, hey man, let's do a song. Cam Ward told him, he said, I'm a football player. Let's do a rap song. He said, I'm a football player. As you can tell, I follow along what's going on with it because I mean they are exciting individuals to sit down and watch. I mean, it's very entertaining. But I mean, you have to be honest as far as stuff that you're seeing, especially if you played this game and you've been one that your coaches have called your ass to the mat for stuff that you had no business doing. And there was no social media back then when I was doing some of the dumb crap I was doing. I'm just being real with you. Like I said, Walt Boswell be rolling over this grave right now, boy. If we had social media and my behind was out there doing some of the stuff that I see some of these athletes doing right now, and it was being posted across social media, boy, that man had a championship ring that was 2 of my dad. You see how big my 2 fingers is? That sucker would cross 2 of my fingers. And I caught that championship ring beside my helmet during practice one day. Why? Because I was out there being a butthole. Held me accountable. And threw me off the field. And I had to come back and apologize to the team. And I was a damn captain. Like I said, man, I just look at this thing. I look at this stuff a little different than what some of these other folks do. And I respect it. I respect the hell out of where everybody coming from. But I don't think his draft stock dropped because of his play. I think his draft stock dropped because of his character. And I'm sure there's some things out there that I'm missing that has happened in which they may have talked to some other folks and they got that information. I'm just saying, we have to understand exactly what's going on. But if we're going to sit here and complain, talk about, they sitting here doing this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wait a minute. Even right now with everything that's going on, they're telling the damn athletes if they take a knee, get the hell off their field. But we still watching though, right? Okay. I'm just saying. But I will say this. Congratulations to Shedeur Sanders. He was drafted by the Cleveland Browns. I want to see exactly what this young man's going to do with that football program, with the organization, because there's a lot of things that's going on that need to be changed. You still got Deshaun Watson there that they owe a boatload of money to. So they probably was looking at, looking at it from a financial standpoint on how they can get them in there and get them paid so that they can stay under their damn salary cap to try to get some more pieces in there that can help him out there on the field. I need for Shedeur Sanders to get into camp, get that playbook, study that playbook, understand what's going on inside and out, and show these folks what time it is and make it happen. Shut up all the naysayers. I'm not going to say, hey, Coach Prime, you should do it. Coach Prime going to be Coach Prime regardless of what anybody say. He ain't listening to nothing nobody got to say because he didn't walk this mile already. And a lot of us don't even half-ass understand what's going on. But I'm just giving my personal assessment of things that I saw. And, you constantly get asked questions about what your thoughts are about this, that, and the third, as far as what all took place. And I keep telling folks, I'm like, I don't think it was because of his play. I honestly feel because of his character. Could that, I'm being sarcastic now, could that retiring of the jersey, could that have kicked this thing in an overdrive where it had some folks mad and upset about what was going on? We'll never know. But we'll find out in the coming weeks as far as what's going on, and then from there we can make our own opinions as far as what's what. And then those that want to say bull jive, you say bull jive. Those say, hey, you know what? I agree with that. We can go from there. But hey, guys, do your coach a huge favor. Tune in, tap in, tell a friend, and come on in. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel, to Marley Sports Network. And once again, this is another episode of Blow the Whistle with your favorite coach, Coach Walker. Now, let me let y'all in on something before I go ahead and sign off. Blow the Whistle, we talk about everything under the sun outside of HBCU sports. Tomorrow Sports Network, that's HBCU content that I try to put over there. So I try to give you guys content, daily content, different things that's going on around the country, around the globe, whatever have you, sports, culture, whatever. I try to talk about that here on Blow the Whistle with your favorite coach, Coach Walker. So again, make sure you tune in, tap in, tell a friend. Guys, your favorite coach will go ahead and get up on out this thing. But like I always say, be the one in lead.